That music and that picture of the Carolina Theater means it's time for the 4 to 5.
That's
Eric,
true.
Chad, and Lauren here with you today.
And don't be alarmed by what you see out here.
Yes.
The temperature is beautiful out today.
Absolutely
Nice.
beautiful. You know, those are raindrops, correct?
Yes.
It looked like snow at first, and
No,
I
no,
got
no.
a little nervous. I said, what am I looking at right now?
If it snows at 70-something degrees, we're in big trouble around here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is, we still could have already hit a record high temperature. In fact, we know that we've been up to at least 80.
Wow.
And some of because we can't get the official reading until 5 p.m. and they go back and they look at minute by minute because we only get them hour by hour.
Right.
So right now we know we were 80 or maybe 81, and 81 would be the all-time record high.
I've got to say, I've been enjoying this early summer, but I'd like some consistency. I feel like the last week or so, we've just been up and down, up and
Then
down.
you're not going to like the next
Yeah.
one.
I know.
I was going to say, as long as you live in North Carolina, you will not be happy. We are all over the place, and that's just the way it is. I mean, that's kind of, it is this time of the year, but this is an extreme situation, right? Look at these temperatures. It's crazy when you look at this. Let's look south and east. So Raleigh, 84. And we think we saw them at 85 degrees a little bit earlier today. Sanford at 81. Now, if you jump up toward Burlington, you say, wait a minute, from Burlington, from Alamance County over to Wake County is not that far, and it's 14-degree difference. That's because we've had showers out and about. The rain has dropped it down to 71 in High Point, 71 in Winston-Salem. It's kind of crazy when you look at this, too. It's 80 in Lexington, but then the short drive up the road to High Point, it's 71. That's what rain does to you, and here's what it looks like right now. All of those showers moving through the area. Guilford County getting some of that, Winston-Salem as well. So Forsyth County, Northern Davidson, Northern Randolph, that line will be pushing through here and will slowly cool down. It's not going to be a dramatic drop in temperatures from today to tomorrow, but it will be somewhat dramatic from today to Saturday if you compare those 2 days, because again, we were at that 80, maybe 81. We're waiting for the official reading. Either way, we've broken the record for today, the regular record, but the all-time record, we may have that. We'll just have to wait and see. That cold front will work its way through. Cooler air back behind it, not so much on your Friday, but really on your Saturday, as we see those high temperatures, or temperatures for the better part of the day, only being in the 40s, it looks like, and it will be kind of a cool down throughout that entire period. Just to recap, though, partly cloudy tonight. We'll see some of those overnight lows in the 50s. Cooler tomorrow, though, 65 degrees. That's a late day shower possible. We'll keep that in the outlook. But the 7-day showing that 30% for Friday. It is a 60% chance on Saturday with a much cooler high of 44. Sunday clearing out a little bit, 64, and we're warm again next week. 70 on Monday. Again, a slight rain chance, but we're dry Tuesday, Wednesday, and high 66 Tuesday and 63 by Wednesday of next week.
So you might not need to check the forecast today, but you will certainly want to keep our app handy this weekend. We'll keep you in the loop as that weather goes back into winter mode on Saturday.
Governor Roy Cooper announced $462.9 million in funding for clean water and wastewater infrastructure. North Carolina is also investing by a portion of $2.3 billion in support of these projects. $27.9 million funding will go to Lexington to create a new dewatering facility.
So this investment is so important, not just for families, but for businesses, because the economic development that we know is going to come to Lexington and Davidson County wouldn't be able to come without increasing the capacity of the wastewater system.
Because many of the water infrastructure systems across the state are between 75 to 100 years old, 95 North Carolina counties will benefit from these investments.
Randolph County Sheriff Greg Siebold returned to the office yesterday. The sheriff has spent much of the new year away from work. The sheriff's office says Siebold went to the hospital early last month but didn't elaborate on his illness. He got to go home about a month ago. He stayed in touch with the office throughout his recovery. He still is working a limited schedule as he regains strength.
Greensboro's nature programs are receiving high praise from the U.S. Department of Interior this morning. The Assistant Secretary for Fish, Wildlife and Parks stopped by the Peeler Rec Center. She highlighted investments made by the federal government to improve recreational access in underrepresented communities. She also touted efforts to create and upgrade urban parks and trails around the city. Happening tonight, newly appointed Greensboro Police Chief John Thompson continues his forum series this evening. GPD is looking to connect with residents and have an open space for them to express concerns about various topics. The meeting will be at Lindley Center from 6 to 7. The series continues with 3 more meetings through March 9th.
Disgraced South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh told the judge that he'll take the stand in his own defense at his double murder trial. Murdaugh is accused of killing his wife Maggie and their 22-year-old son Paul at their home in 2021. He again today denied any role in the shootings.
Mr. Griffin, I didn't shoot my wife or my son anytime, ever. I would never intentionally do anything to hurt either one of them.
Prosecutors can also question him about the roughly 100 other charges he faces. He could get 30 years to life in prison if convicted. When looking to invest in a car, safety is usually a top priority. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety is out with its list of safest vehicles, and you might be surprised to know fewer models made the grade this year.
The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety destroys dozens of cars to find out how they protect those inside. Now the IIHS is revealing which models earn a top pick. To make the grade, vehicles have to perform well in crash tests, have technology to avoid crashes, and help drivers see the road clearly. This year, only 48 vehicles earned a top safety pick or Safety Pick Plus award.
It is quite the drop from last year. Last year at this time, we had a little over 100 winners.
But IIHS President David Harkey says it's not so much that the cars have changed, it's because his group has made the safety testing process more rigorous. For example, the side crash test now uses a bigger barrier that mimics the larger pickups and SUVs on the road today.
The vehicle must also achieve an advanced or a superior rating in both the daytime and nighttime front crash prevention test for pedestrians. And then finally, that vehicle must have those good or acceptable headlights.
Among automakers, the Toyota Corporation, which includes Lexus, came out on top with 15 top safety awards. Honda, which also owns Acura, was next, and Mazda came in third.
One of the things we do anticipate is we will add vehicles to this list as we go through the year, as we test more vehicles, and as automakers make changes to their vehicles.
Harkey says car companies that didn't make the grade are already adapting to the more difficult tests, and he anticipates more vehicles will earn top picks next year. Dina Demetrius, CBS News, Los Angeles.
I love watching those videos in slow motion.
Slow motion part I like. When they show them in real speed, it makes my stomach hurt. You know, I'm always like, oh.
I always wonder how many models did they have to go through to test?
All of them.
Ooh, that's a lot of cars.
That's a lot of cars.
Yeah. Do you think people look at that before they get a vehicle?
We did once we had kids. Like before, I really didn't pay much attention to that. Oh, I know Volvo used to have a big reputation for being safe, but once we had kids, we did.
I think just through reputation, you start to learn which cars are the safest. You know, Toyota has a good, Honda, you just hear good things about them in general.
Yeah, I guess I don't really pay attention to that when I go to buy a car. I guess it's just whatever car kind of is in my budget and I like.
I was about to say, when you go to buy a car, what are you looking for?
It's got to look good and it's got to be in my budget.
Okay.
Those are number
in that order?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. He's honest about it. True. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back.
What?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I was almost on a mic check saying that. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 to the 14 to the Throughout Black History Month, WFMY News 2 is highlighting the work and impact of Black leaders in the Triad. I spoke with one Navant Health top officer who continues to break down barriers by promoting equal access to quality care. Dr. Cherie Gregory dedicated her career to being a voice for the voiceless. She's the Senior Vice President and Chief Health Equity Officer for Navant Health.
Essentially what that means is our goal is to ensure that regardless of your dimensions of diversity, you are able to achieve the highest level of health, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, where you grow up, your zip codes.
As a change agent and originator, Dr. Gregory is the first of many. The first African-American woman in the U.S. to design and direct a neurocritical care unit, and creator of the first Joint Commission certified primary stroke center in the Carolinas.
One of the youngest patients I had was 19 years old. So I realized very early in my career when I moved to North Carolina that health equity was incredibly important, and the health disparities that communities experience lead to premature stroke and heart disease and other health challenges that are by and large preventable.
While at Navant Health, Dr. Gregory helped launch a regional neurology practice and neuroscience hospitalist team. She said understanding her Black history inspires her daily.
It really has helped me to start conversations around what is historically true about our country and why it might be that certain communities, particularly Black and Brown communities, have potential mistrust for some of the care that may be provided.
As a wife and mother of 4, Dr. Gregory hopes to be an example for the next generation, that anything is achievable no matter their background.
My mom and my grandmother were great supporters, and so we would have these conversations and they would say, they don't define what your future is. You define what your future is. So once you see something that you love, don't let anything stop you. Go for it.
Love that quote. When we were doing the interview, I said, my parents used to tell me the same thing, like your friends or other people don't define your future, you define who you want to be.
Lauren and I were talking during that piece. Some people just sound so smart and put together.
Yes.
That's her.
Yes.
I mean, like, if I'd believe anything she'd tell me, because she just sounds like she's got it all down.
Yeah.
I love when there are broken barriers, because then, I mean, think about all of the young kids who might be watching this story who were like, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that because there's someone who looks like me who did that first.
Absolutely. That's why it's so important for us to tell these stories so folks at home can see that and aspire to be those things. Another thing that stuck out to me about her interview, you know, during Black History Month, we talk about, you know, things that people are doing, but she talked about how knowing your history can give context to the field that you work in, with her trying to grant access to quality care for people of all backgrounds. Knowing the history and the systems that are in place in our country allows her to be able to do that and have a different understanding.
It's true. She's a role model.
Absolutely.
You know, a huge role model. We'll take a break. We'll see you in a bit.
This is Manning. Hello, can you hear me now? My mic is now on. I am putting in supers for my story. Hello, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? Oh, God bless, thank you.
In the movie roster this week, WFMY News 2's Manning Franks shares his experience watching Titanic on the 25th anniversary.
In 1997, a film was released in theaters that captured the imagination of audiences, became a pop culture staple, and made a lot of money. Now the ship has sailed back to the cinematic sea as James Cameron's Titanic has returned once again to theaters. Now, I've seen the film before, but I've never had the chance to cry while watching it on the big screen. So, who could say no to that?
Titanic was called the Ship of Dreams. And it was. It really was.
In 1912, the passenger ship Titanic set sail upon the Atlantic from Southampton, England to New York, New York. However, it would ultimately never reach its destination. Through a combination of fact and fiction, James Cameron takes this tragedy and humanizes it through the bright fire of a doomed romance, with Rose, played by Kate Winslet, and Jack, played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
Take it to sea, Mr. Murdoch.
Titanic is one of those films that just gets better with each subsequent rewatch, by oscillating between the harrowing nature of the historical event and the fresh taste of young love through the eyes of Jack and Rose. There is this beautiful accessibility to the film that makes it an enduring classic even to this day. Be it the star-crossed lovers at the center, or the deep empathetic reverence of individual stories from crew and passengers, James Cameron waves his cinematic wand to transport you to that faithful night. It is ambition on a grand scale that is rarely seen in film nowadays, as Titanic still holds up as a spectacle for the ages. It doesn't hurt either that James Cameron is so intentional with every single aspect of the film. The visuals are disarming and feel so carefully choreographed. The music by the late James Horner, and yes, that includes the main theme of My Heart Will Go On, feels so synonymously integral. And the acting from leads DiCaprio and Winslet proves these two were always destined to become stars. The experience of watching Titanic on the big screen as you bawl your eyes out is a close equivalent to an emotional catharsis as one can get while watching a movie. Don't mishear me, Titanic isn't a perfect film. But by the time the ending hits to this masterpiece, it certainly does feel close. I'm giving Titanic an enthusiastic 2 approved. You can watch it for a limited time in theaters or rent it digitally.
I got chills during
Yeah,
the whole
me
thing.
too.
Just hearing that music and seeing some of those scenes just brings back so many memories of watching it. I remember I watched it in the theater when I was
did too.
14 years
Wow.
old.
And I
That's
want to see it in the theater again, even though I've seen it 8 million times.
It hits differently when you see it in theaters, because I've only seen it on TV when it's had those reruns. This is my first experience seeing it in theaters.
So you
this past
did
week.
see?
I
Oh,
did,
yeah,
yes.
it's incredible.
Kimmy and I saw it. We were just weeping the entire time. And I joked about bringing that tissue box. I literally brought tissue.
No, you
have
You
to.
need it.
I might have to go and see it because I'm going to be honest with you
This
guys.
one-
To go and
I
see
have
it.
not seen this movie all the way through. I've seen it in chunks.
Yep.
I understand the plot.
Not the same.
I know what characters are in it.
I mean, I think.
But I have not seen it all the way through.
I think
have to.
everyone knows the plot to an extent because it's such a cultural thing. Like we all know about the Jack and Rose.
Yeah.
Right.
If he could fit on the door.
Yeah, the
we
whole
all
thing.
know that spiel.
I just so I became obsessed after I saw the movie, and the Titanic exhibit was touring at that time because they said this is the perfect time to do it, obviously. So they did, and I saw it. I bought. You're gonna laugh. I have some of the replica cups from the White Star line, which was the ship.
Wow.
That, like I went nuts with it, but Cameron got obsessed with it. James Cameron went down to see the Titanic.
He's an obsessive director.
several times.
And
Yes.
that Titanic is proof of that. It's a great film.
Quick question before we go
Yes.
to break. Are there any other movies that you think are neck and neck with how popular this is, or how much it was able to drive people, or the fact that we can bring it out 20 plus years later?
Spans the
and
test of time.
spans
Wizard
the test
of
of
Oz.
time.
When it comes-
What other movies?
I don't think Wizard of Oz would have been able to make the same amount of money as the thing. But
Well, that's for sure.
Titanic, it's hard to beat. I can't
All
really
right,
say.
I gotta
We'll
get
be
up to
back.
date, up to speed, y'all.
We're getting you on. Not on the Titanic, but you know. You don't have to be a meteorologist to know our temperatures have been all over the place lately, but with today's record-breaking heat, I decided to ask you on Facebook if this makes you want summer quicker or maybe you miss winter a little bit. Candy says, since we've had no snow, I'm great with the weather. I wish it'd never get warmer though than today. Betty says, summer, I love this weather, but it does seem a little strange in February. That's true. Janice says, I wish it would stay like this all year long. Steven says, I don't want summer this early. It's a long, hot summer anyway, normally. There's some truth to that.
We'll be agreeing with Stephen probably come late July, August.
Yes.
We're just
right?
never happy.
Right.
When it's in the
Thank
summer,
you.
we want winter, and when it's winter time, we want summer.
You see a meteorologist email inbox, you'll understand.
Yeah.
There's somebody upset. We did tie the record today. I just got the word officially. 81 was the high today.
Wow.
So now there are 5 days since records have been kept in the triad, which is 1903. Only 5 days in February have we ever hit 80, and 3 of them were in the last 3 years.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
17, 18, and 23.
Well, I'm happy with the weather. I absolutely love it. I wish it could be like this year round. As I said earlier, I'm just hoping for some consistency. But in North Carolina, I guess that's not possible.
Spring, and especially spring. Fall can be like that a little bit, but spring is all over the place for us.
Are you able to see, just like some predictions from far out into March? Like, are we expecting to stay above normal, or?
I never believe, some people believe in long range outlooks. I don't do it. Our forecasts are based on, no lie, weather balloons going up twice a day, and we use that data to predict a week out.
Oh.
The models are always changing.
Always changing, yeah, so I don't believe long range things. I do believe this though. Let's take a look at our forecast. I can give you a short-term outlook here, at least for the next week. All right, we mentioned all those days, those are very few days actually, that we've seen 80s in February. So let's take a look at it. We'll go all the way down here because there's a 4-way tie for first place. So the hottest days are the days in 80s on record in February since records have been kept here since 1903. That was 2018, we hit 80. And then we have the string of 81s, including today, and then also February 12th in 2017. You have to go back to 1977. On February 26th, we hit 81. And we also hit 81 on February 25th, and that was 1930. Very few times in recorded history for the triad that what we saw today happens. Now, it didn't last very long because of this. Showers moving by drastically dropped our temperatures from that 81 degree mark in parts of Guilford County. We were in the upper 60s just a moment ago. So rain cooled temperatures as that shower line moves by. A little bit unstable back behind it. Here's what the surface chart looks like. And basically that cold front will be pushing through. The coldest air for us really doesn't come in until Saturday, and that's when we see high temperature. Actually, the temperature pretty much from overnight Friday night and into Saturday will just basically stay in the 40s, it looks like, for most of the day. We will warm back up though next week. I just want to take a quick look at our 7-day if we can. Slight rain chance, we've got that for the next 3 days all the way through the weekend. Saturday could be heavier rains though, 60%, that's a cold rain. But we're in the 60s, mid to upper 60s and close to 70 all next week, and we'll dry for Tuesday and Wednesday.
A massive winter storm is sweeping across the country, threatening 76 million people in 26 states. So far, the Midwest is getting the worst part of it. Parts of Minnesota are looking up to 18 inches of snow. In that state, blizzard conditions force a big rig off the interstate and cause more than 100 crashes across the state. Snow even fell in Vegas Wednesday and hail in Southern California. Students at Pasadena's Polytechnic School were excited to experience a taste of the rare winter weather. While the American East has experienced a relatively mild winter, the Northern Plains has experienced an extreme winter in terms of snowfall and temperatures. That is according to the Weather Service. We'll be right back.
All right, so you know sometimes when you have an idea and you think it's a really good idea,
Yes.
and then it actually comes to fruition and it was a really bad idea. So I asked our producer if we could be out here for the second half of the show, assuming the temperatures were going to be beautiful, and here we are.
And here we are in the rain.
It feels good, but the rain does not look good. And I told them, y'all are better be glad I have these braids in my hair. Otherwise, I wouldn't be out here.
You got the good umbrella.
Yeah, I got
Chad
the
and
good
have
umbrella,
the beaten
too.
up umbrella. Oh, yes, we do. Well, it does not feel like 81 now because it is not, but it was earlier a little bit. Let's go ahead and talk about our forecast, and we'll get to kind of show you what's happening here. Overall, and I'm going to stand in a different place because water was puddling all over the place out here. When we look at this overall, these numbers that we talked about, it just shows you how rare this is. You know, we said only 5 days, if you look at that, in recorded history, have we seen temperatures at 80 or above. And of those 5, the only 2 readings were 80 and 81. And today we were at 81 degrees. Things are changing dramatically though. You can see we're in the 60s now. And that's because of the rain moving through. Now, if you look down south and closer to say even in South Carolina and even at our coast where they have not seen the showers yet, they are still firmly in the 80s. We believe Raleigh was in the mid 80s at one point today. So a big, records really all across the state. We shattered the old daily high temperature record, which was in the mid 70s. Easily took care of that. Look for some of these showers. We see that as we head into the night. It's a little unsettled back behind us too as you watch that system start to move by. But I want you to look at the 7-day real quick. Let me step out of the way here and get out of the puddles. Yeah, they're starting to form out here. Because some of you, and this is what happened here in the weather garden actually, is that it rained hard for a short amount of time, but then it'll be quick, right? And most of this will move by and will lighten up just a bit. But don't be surprised if you see this shower activity. Same story tomorrow, but cooler. 65 degrees tomorrow. It is a cold, rainy Saturday with yet another system, a low pressure moving by with that cold front will drop us to the 40s. Look at the low Saturday morning and then the high that day. There's only a 3-degree difference. What does that tell you? It tells you we'll see lots of rain and clouds. So 60% chance of showers, could be heavy at times. That's a cold Saturday. That's actually below normal. We should be in the mid 50s. Sunday, 20%. We'll keep a 30% in Monday as well, but 64 and 70 for those 2 days. Still well above normal for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're dry Tuesday, Wednesday with pretty mild overnight lows, 250 for the mild overnight low Tuesday, and then 66 for the high, 63 on Wednesday. Another system moves by Thursday, 40% chance of rain, and a high of 67.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Governor Roy Cooper visited Lexington Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant to announce $462.9 million in funding for clean water and waste infrastructure. The state of North Carolina will also be investing a historic by a portion of $2.3 billion to support these projects. This will not only bring clean water to the city, but also new economic opportunities. Join Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools Meaningful Moments Petrie STEM Night, that is tonight at 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Multiple booths and exhibits will be set up for students and families to engage in hands-on learning along with different community partners.
Get ready for a whole lot of traffic around the Greensboro Coliseum tonight. This guy is going to be in town and performing to what is expected to be a huge crowd. You might remember this picture the last time Blake Shelton was here. Back in 2018, he and his now wife, Gwen Stefani, took this picture as they shopped at the Wrangler store downtown. The openers for tonight's concert are Carly Pierce and Jackson Dean. If you plan to see the Book of Mormon at the Tanger Center this week, just know you'll be seeing a local face. This right here is Kamari Bryant, who graduated from UNC Greensboro. The Tanger Center says Bryant will have an Instagram takeover tomorrow. Just follow Tanger's accounts to see his posts. I always love when there's a local person, and especially in a big Broadway show.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be great for them as well, right? This is like their hometown spot.
Especially so all their family members can come out. I've gone to the Tanger Center where there's been some local talent there, and you can see all their family members in the front row. They're just looking up so proud because that's such an honor.
Yeah.
And to play that, I mean, that venue is beautiful. Ooh. You know, I mean, you do that. I know he's used to traveling all around and doing this, but there is something special about coming home. The home crowd is always better for you.
Yeah.
It's like playing a sport in your home stadium, right?
It's like LeBron going to Cleveland. Maybe on a lower scale, but you know what I mean.
Right.
He'll be getting a lot of standing ovations.
Yes, he will.
Have you, are you guys going to Book of Mormon?
I'm trying to. I don't know if that is my mic, but if it is, I apologize.
Somebody's.
I've been entering the lottery, so I'm trying to see one of the shows, hopefully this weekend, because I'd love to see it.
We're going Saturday. I think we're doing the afternoon one on Saturday.
I've heard a lot of good things.
Many of my friends have seen it. I will tell you this. They say if you're not offended, then you don't get it, because they do something to offend everybody.
Oh.
It's like in your face. It is an in your face Broadway play.
And that's what I like.
But you got to be ready for that.
I like in your face.
You got to understand.
Right, we're gonna move gears now. There's a scam warning going around in our state. With the state on the cusp of legalizing online sports betting, scammers are out for more than your cash when you place a sports bet with fraudsters. Right now, North Carolina doesn't allow mobile sports betting, but that doesn't stop scammers from trying to reach you. But this also makes it confusing for those thinking it's already okay to bet. The Better Business Bureau of the Eastern Carolina says they've seen reports of so-called sports handicappers reaching out to people through email or social media, trying to get them to place a bet. Once North Carolina legalizes online sports betting, it will still take several months before systems are up and running to allow betting.
And we are approaching a busy time of year for sports betting. March Madness is right around the corner. The women's ACC tournament kicks off in Greensboro next Wednesday. The men are the week after. Then it's the most anticipated week. Greensboro on the national stage hosting second and third round games in the NCAA tournament. Good intentions lead to even better results when a local 7th grader and his teacher raised an astonishing amount in donations for a nonprofit. WFMY News 2's Manning Franks found out how they did it.
I believe it's our 7th year.
For Suzanne Bryant, that's how long her 7th grade classes at URA Charter Academy have been doing a literal life-giving fundraiser.
We participate in the Iron Giraffe Challenge. Water for South Sudan encourages schools and other groups to try to raise $1,000 each year, which helps build wells to provide clean water for the people in villages.
Between the months of January to May, Suzanne and her class consistently meet the goal. However, this time was different.
We have met our goal every year, but this year we had extra help from Colton Dixon to reach that goal a little faster than we normally do.
In her class, 7th grader Colton Dixon took it upon himself to go a little above and beyond.
The number was around $60 out of our $1,000 goal, and it was nowhere close to being completed. After that point, then I started writing emails, letters.
For his part, Colton wrote to over 20 different businesses in Randolph County in hopes to get to that $1,000 goal.
And I actually get an email every time somebody donates online through our Water for South Sudan fundraising page. And so I was getting email after email, and I was like, what is happening? Because it was sort of all of a sudden. And then his mom reached out and kind of let me know what was going on.
It felt amazing to know that people were willing to donate.
Within 3 days, Colton's class met their goal in record time. Still, there are plenty of days left before the May deadline.
We reached the $1,000 goal, what now? We immediately hung up another poster to try to get us to $2,000.
It's because of Colton they can now go past that initial goal. And Susan hopes it sets an example.
Well, I hope everybody who's middle school age and younger realizes that even people who are not adults can make a huge difference in the world. Just like Colton did.
I'm Manning Franks, WFMY News 2.
Boy, what an inspiration.
I know.
And it's incredible that so many businesses responded to him. He sent out 20 letters to local businesses just within the county asking for donations to a water project in another country.
Yeah.
And within 3 days, they met their goal.
I think there's so much we can learn from our young people, just taking initiative like that and showing if you're consistent, if you speak up, people will want to give and help you out. So I think he's a great example of what determination can do for you.
It's cute. So my youngest is doing a fundraiser for the school, and it's a fun run. So they get you pledge per lap, as they run around this thing, or you can just give a set amount. So I said, where are you going yesterday? And Drew had a bag, and she had cut out little pieces of paper with the website address where you can donate, but she didn't have the web page that went to her specifically for the thing. So she was handing out these things, and I said, "Oh no, you got to go back now and tell them exactly where." And she was trying, but nobody told her to do it, so I was proud of her. So she had to go back and then change it and show them where to click.
That's got to make you feel good that she wants to be able to help at such a young age.
Yeah, and they have cute little gifts they get, if they get a certain amount of money. So
that's great.
Good stuff.
Manning, thank you for that story. That was incredible.
Yes, that was
very
cool.
great.
We'll be back.
Okay. Hey, giving you a mic check. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together like a classic combination. All right, this right here, this is how I remember selling cookies, loading up them in my cart, taking them around the neighborhood, house to house. Most of us bought cookies outside a storefront, right? On a table, just waiting us for to grab and go. But buying cookies online, it's a thing. And it was a thing before COVID, but COVID really stepped up sales.
We sold about 126,000 packages last year online, and that accounted for about 8% of the total sales. I think online selling is just a great skill for these girls to learn about. The e-commerce business in general is it's growing. And so as these girls become entrepreneurs, as Girl Scouts and then later in life, it's just going to be another skill they can add to their toolkit.
Well, business from now on, of course, is always going to include some kind of online component and hopefully face-to-face too, right? But so both are growing, so both of those skills are needed.
I agree.
I still like having them come to the door, and it's always fun when they come back and deliver it to you. It's just cute.
It's nice seeing them at stores and churches because you're like, oh, you know what? I will buy a box or two.
That's right, and their faces just light up.
Yeah.
Now, I asked if the top-selling cookie online was different than the top-selling cookie in person. The same. What is it, friends?
Thin Mints.
It is Thin Mints.
And Thin Mints are good, but they're not the best in my opinion. But people go crazy for Thin Mints.
So what do you think is the best?
I really like the Samoas.
Okay.
Yep. That's
or
me.
the Caramel Delights.
Yeah.
I know people call them both.
That's mine. Well, now wait a minute. That Adventureful, I forgot. When they came out with that
you like that
my
one?
list.
It's good.
The peanut butter patty has a different name now, right?
Do-si-do. I used to be a Girl Scout, so I know all the names.
Is that the chocolate on the outside and the peanut butter on the inside?
And with like the...
Well, that's the tag-along.
Oh.
that tastes like a Reese's cup, and then the do-si-do is an actual peanut butter
sandwich.
Yeah.
You should have sourced Lauren as a source for the
Anything with the peanut butter, I'm good with.
Yeah. All right. Now, cookie season is going to be over in March, so you have a few more weekends to get your cookies. And I want to show you how you can look online, and you were just saying this, you were like, who sells the boxes? And find out where the stands are no matter where you are. So you go online and you do find cookie stands, and by simply plugging in your zip code, it brings up the dates and locations of every single booth, so you can scroll through and see which spot is going to be wherever you're running errands or where you normally shop. And here's how the ordering online works.
Maybe your aunt or your grandmother who lives across the country, who's always wanted to support Girl Scouts but is never quite with you during the cookie season. They can click on, your girl's link. They can purchase the cookies. They get shipped directly to their house, and the troop gets credit. A customer can go online, purchase their cookies, pay for them with a credit card, and then the girl gets a notification that says, your friend from church or down the street has bought some cookies and would like them delivered.
All right, so there's two different ways to do it. One, it just ships to you. The next one, it's actually delivered to your house. Now, if you ship it to you, remember, it's $14.99 in shipping, whether you order one box or 8. So just order 8. We've got the links to the online orders for you in the Two Wants to Know section.
Or 10.
I think it's my mic. Mic check 1 2 1 2. When I move my shoulders, ooh ooh, you can hear the mic boom. Well, I'm here so we can switch that out for the 5 o'clock.
Sorry, I haven't seen.
No, I'm good. Whose social is that? That's Lauren's. Okay.
There's nothing. It's not rubbing up against anything. I mean, I have it pinned how I wear it any other time. Do you see it rubbing up against anything?
You hear?
I mean, it's just on my.
It's at the base. It's on the pack itself. Is that the mic thing that I was just moving, or is that the IFB?
That was the mic. I mean, I have it on my strap, how I always wear it. Does it sound fine now? I mean, I can just try not to move, because if that's the case, then it wasn't the wire. It could just be the actual box itself. But I have it on. I mean, we can just see for the morning show. If they're having issues with mic 1, then it's the actual microphone. Okay.
You know, sitting here just thinking to myself that we went from 81 today. We did hit that earlier, record high temperature for today, and now we're at 65. But we'll go from 81 today and then think 48 hours from now when it's Saturday afternoon, we'll see highs only in the mid 40s. like 30-something degree difference coming up. So get ready for it. 65 in the Triad now. Still at the coast, the rain hasn't reached there yet. So we're 81 in Wilmington, 82 in Columbia, Charleston at 84. Forecast for tonight and tomorrow, a very mild overnight low, partly cloudy and 58. We're still in the 60s tomorrow, so not bad, but much cooler than today. 65. It'll be a little bit breezy, and we still have a chance of a shower. This entire system will not have cleared us completely yet. But you see a line of showers now from southern Alamance down through Randolph and southern Davidson counties. A little bit of instability back behind that, and we do expect that cold front to actually get through by Saturday. So Friday is really not all that bad. Here's your 7-day forecast with breezy conditions tomorrow and kind of a rainy, cold Saturday. So tomorrow 65, 60% chance of rain and 44 Saturday. Sunday 64. We hit 70 again by Monday. Slight rain chance. Dry Tuesday, Wednesday, and in the low to mid 60s. Our normal high is 55.
The newest season of the Netflix series called The Outer Banks is officially here. It is about a teen getting his 3 best friends to hunt for treasure and the encounters they have along the way. Though it's about the Outer Banks, it was actually filmed in South Carolina. And there are some puzzling moments to us here in North Carolina in the first season that really don't make any sense geographically, like when they take a ferry from the Outer Banks to Chapel Hill. Did you know that you could take a ferry?
I remember.
From the Outer
Well, let me
Banks
go
to
and
Chapel
check that
Hill?
out. We should test it out.
I remember hearing that and just laughing about that. I never watched it. Did you watch it?
I have not.
I love
Oh,
the
you
show.
did?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's
What's
good.
the groups? Aren't there nicknames for the
Yeah,
groups?
the Pogues and
that's right.
help me out, Franny.
I can't remember the other one.
How many seasons are there?
This is the 3rd season.
The 3rd season.
Yep.
I've seen that it is trending on Netflix as one of the top 10 shows to watch.
Yes.
So maybe that could be something I could
Yes,
binge later.
The Pogues and the Kooks, which is basically like the rich out-of-towners and like the locals who are more blue-collar.
Yeah.
But it's a good show.
Is it really?
Yeah, I really like it.
Is it it's suspenseful or some adventure type thing?
Yeah,
or
it's
is
more
it more
adventure.
of a
Like
relation?
it kind of reminds me of a modern-day version of the Goonies.
The Goonies. That's what I was thinking.
Okay. Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of binging shows, I asked you on Facebook, what is the best type of show to binge? A lot of you responded. Krista says, I'm all over the place. I did just finish Love is Blind on Netflix. I did too. Lynn wrote true crime documentaries, not for the violence. There's something so satisfying about having a puzzle solved. I agree. Larry says old westerns, and then Annie says the Golden Girls. I love me a Golden Girls marathon.
Yes.
I will watch it all day while I do laundry, while I just do chores.
I should
Love
have
the
taken
Golden
a picture
Girls.
of my wife today. You would have loved it. We had a meeting today that I had to go to with her, and she has a T-shirt with it's a pink T-shirt with black writing on it. It's just their names: Rose, Blanche, Dorothy,
That's
like
great.
all just listed. She's a huge fan.
Okay.
I want to show, if I'm going to binge it, it needs to be just kind of light. I can't have something that's like the Jeffrey Dahmer series or something
Something you
crazy
got to
that-
pay like attention to, or
Right.
that will weigh heavy
It's
on your
very
mind.
emotionally,
I'm still waiting. What's March? Mandalorian. I cannot wait.
Huh.
Till that's
Oh.
out.
I hadn't seen it. I like anything reality TV or true crime,
love
but
true
if
crime.
we're keeping it light, reality television is a good one that I can binge.
All right. We'll be right back.
Set a microphone check, microphone check.
Were those called Etch-a-Sketch? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? No, that's not Etch-a-Sketch. Those were...
Hey, 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 my name is Hannah. Yeah, I'm really fun.
Hello, Etch-a-Sketch, Magna Doodle, other fun toys. 1, 2.
I'd like to talk about something serious that bothers me this time of year. Without fail, it happens throughout Black History Month. I either hear someone say or write on social media, when is White History Month? They're basically wondering why there's a Black History Month but no White History Month. A little background here. Black History Month grew out of Negro History Week, which originated in 1926. Over the decades, it gained traction when President Ford, President Reagan, and Congress acknowledged the importance of the week. In 1976, President Ford expanded it from a week to a month. In a 1986 proclamation, President Reagan wrote, "The foremost purpose of Black History Month is to make all Americans aware of the struggle for freedom and equal opportunity." We're all familiar with our country's history of slavery and the major efforts to suppress Black people and their voices after slavery ended. They weren't even counted as a full person when counting the population. At no point in history has the entire population of white Americans dealt with the kind of horrific treatment Black people have. In my opinion, 1 month set aside to highlight their history is the least our country could do. Clearly, I'm not Black, but I appreciate Black History Month because it reminds me of the struggles countless people in this country faced. During the month of February, I welcome the effort to teach all Americans about what happened long before many of us were born. As President Reagan said, it's to make us all aware of the struggle for freedom and equal opportunity. I think it's our duty, all of us, to learn what we can. That's just my 2 cents. And your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
The sky cam over downtown Greensboro has changed a lot today. You're seeing clouds right now, but earlier, all you could see was a whole lot of sunshine.
Absolutely beautiful. So Tim, it got so warm, we hit a record today.
Yeah, that's right. You know, if you've lived here a long time in the Triad, you've never had a February day warmer than today. We got up into the low 80s, everybody, and it's really hard to do in the wintertime, of course. That 81 degrees is the official high in Greensboro for today. Now, a little context on this. We have done it a couple of times before, but only 3 times. One of those was just 6 years ago in 2017. Also did it back in the 70s and once in the 30s. The record high for today's date, 74. So we blew by that by 7 degrees and we tied that monthly record. But these are the only 80s in the record books for Greensboro for the month of February.